I'm a 32-year-old poet who just lost everything. The divorce papers flutter beside me on this park bench like dead butterflies, and I can't stop staring at Warren's signature, bold, confident. Final, the morning air in Cincinnati cuts through my thin jacket, but I barely feel it. What I feel is empty. My marriage lasted 8 years. 8 years of him telling me my poetry was cute, but wouldn't pay bills. 8 years of slowly suffocating while he climbed his corporate ladder. When I finally found the courage to leave, I thought I'd feel liberated. Instead, I feel like I'm drowning on dry land. The pen trembles in my hand as I scribble. Autumn stripped me bare, left me counting losses in a stranger city. God. Even my poetry sounds pathetic now. I stuff my notebook into my backpack. Everything I own fits in this bag and start walking. The streets of Cincinnati blur together, brick buildings, coffee shops with steamed windows, people rushing to jobs I'll never have again. My bank account shows exactly $43. Warren kept the house, the car, even our damn cat. Our three of wandering, and I'm desperate for warmth. This little coffee shop called Being There looks promising. Cozy, not too crowded, the kind of place where I might blend in. The bell chimes as I enter, and warmth wraps around me like an old friend. Behind the counter stands this woman with blonde hair pulled back in a messy bun, blue eyes that seem to actually see people. She's probably late 20s, with paint-stained fingers that suggest she does more than just serve coffee. What can I get you? Her voice has a smoky quality that makes me think of jazz clubs. I skim the menu, calculating. Small black coffee, please. That's a Dutch. She studies my face. We have pastries fresh from this morning. Just coffee, she pours. Carefully, like it matters. When she hands me the cup, our fingers brush for half a second. I'm Alicia Morgan. I claim a corner table and make that coffee last 3 hours. Alicia refills it twice without asking. I pretend to write but mostly watch her move around the shop, efficient but graceful, chatting easily with regulars who clearly adore her around noon. She appears at my table with a blueberry muffin. On the house, you look like you could use some fuel for all that writing. I want to refuse. Pride's about all I have left. But my stomach betrays me with a loud growl. Thanks, I manage. Poet, I nod, surprised, thought so. You have that faraway look, like you're always listening to music the rest of us can't hear. Something in her tone makes me look up. She's not mocking me. What gave it away? The way you hold your pen like it's precious. 5 o'clock arrives too soon. Alicia starts cleaning tables, other customers drift away, and I realize I have nowhere to go. The October wind rattles the windows. I pack my notebook slowly, stalling. Rough day? Alicia asks, wiping down neighboring tables. Rough year. I stand, shouldering my backpack. You staying nearby? The question hangs between us. I could lie, but something about her steady blue gaze makes it impossible. Not exactly staying anywhere right now. She stops wiping. Recently divorced, I nod. Alicia glances around the empty shop, then back at me. I have a back room with a couch. It's not much, but it's warm and private. You could crash there tonight if you need to. I couldn't impose. You're not imposing. I'm offering. The kindness in her voice nearly undoes me. When's the last time someone offered help without wanting something back? Just tonight, I whisper. She smiles and something shifts in my chest. Not quite hope, but maybe it's distant cousin. Just tonight, she agrees. But her eyes suggest she might not mind if it became longer. The back room smells like coffee beans and old books. Alicia shows me where the bathroom is, brings me clean towels, and sets up the couch with blankets that smell like lavender fabric softener. Such simple gestures. But after months of Warren's cold indifference, they feel revolutionary. There's leftover soup in the fridge if you get hungry, she says, lingering in the doorway. And don't feel weird about being here. This place gets lonely at night anyway. I want to ask why she's being so kind to a stranger, but exhaustion hits like a freight train when I wake up 8 hours later. Sunlight streams through dusty windows, and I hear Alicia moving around in the main shop. I emerge to find her arranging pastries in the display case, humming something bluesy under her breath. She's wearing jeans and a green sweater that brings out her eyes. Her blonde hair loose around her shoulders. Today, morning, sleeping beauty. She says without looking up, coffee's fresh. Let me help with something. I can't just freeload. She hands me an apron. Ever work a coffee machine? How hard can it be? Famous last words. Within 10 minutes, I've managed to create what looks like a small explosion of espresso grounds. Alicia doesn't get frustrated though. She just laughs and guides my hands on the machine, showing me the right pressure, the proper timing. Like this, she murmurs, her body close behind mine as she demonstrates. Feel how it resists at first, then gives way. Her breath tickles my neck, and I'm suddenly aware of how long it's been since anyone touched me gently. With Warren, every interaction became a transaction toward the end. This feels different, uncomplicated, warm. You're a natural, she lies. When I finally produce something resembling actual coffee. The morning rush keeps us busy. I watch Alicia work. She knows everyone's orders, asks about their kids, remembers details from previous conversations. This isn't just a business to her, it's a community hub. During a lull, she perches on a stool beside the register. So, what kind of poetry do you write? The unemployed kind, apparently. Come on, I'm serious. What inspires you? I consider deflecting. But her curiosity seems genuine. Broken things, mostly. Failed marriages, the way autumn makes everything beautiful while it's dying. That's dark. Yeah, well, it's been a dark year. She's quiet for a moment, then says, I used to paint, still do when I get time. There's something about creating beauty from ugliness that feels necessary, you know. What changed? Why coffee instead of art? Practicality. Art doesn't pay rent, she shrugs. But this place lets me be creative in other ways, like her open mic nights. Open mic? Every Thursday. Local musicians, spoken word artists, comedians. Sometimes you should perform. The idea terrifies me. I don't think. When's the last time you read your work aloud? College? Maybe. Warren said poetry readings were pretentious. Something flashes in Alicia's eyes. Anger? Maybe. Or recognition. Warren sounds like a real charmer. He had his moments. The defense comes automatically. 8 years of habit. I'm sure he did. Her tone suggests she's heard this before. But what do you want? Morgan, not what he wanted, not what's practical. What would make you happy? The question catches me off guard. I've spent so long focused on survival, saving my marriage, keeping peace, making Warren happy, that I've forgotten what my own desires feel like. I want to write, I admit, real poetry that matters. I want to stop apologizing for taking up space. Then take up space. She says simply. Thursday night, 7 o'clock, I'll put you on the list. Before I can protest, the afternoon crowd hits. We work in comfortable rhythm now. And I notice how Alicia moves through her space, confident, purposeful. Like someone who built something meaningful from nothing. As closing time approaches, she counts the register while I wipe tables. The familiar dread creeps in. Where will I go tonight? I can't keep imposing on her kindness, so. Alicia says, not looking up from the cash drawer. My apartment upstairs has a perfectly good guest room that's just collecting dust. I freeze mid-wipe. Alicia, I'm not offering charity. You've been helpful today and frankly, I could use the company. Place gets creepy at night sometimes. I don't have money for rent. Help in the shop until you get back on your feet. Fair trade. She's offering me a lifeline disguised as mutual benefit. Smart woman, just until I figure things out. I say, just until you figure things out. She agrees. But when she smiles, I see something in her expression that makes my pulse quicken. Something that suggests she wouldn't mind if figuring things out takes a while. That night, lying in her actual guest bed with clean sheets and a view of Cincinnati's twinkling lights, I write my first poem in weeks. Strangers become angels without announcing themselves. They simply appear when the world goes dark. Offering coffee and kindness like communion. 2 weeks pass like pages in a good book, quickly but with substance. I find my rhythm at being there, opening the shop at 6 o'clock, managing the morning rush, writing during quiet afternoon hours. Alicia and I work together like we've been partners for years instead of strangers thrown together by circumstance. This morning, she's teaching me to operate the fancy espresso machine. Pressure is everything, she explains, positioning herself behind me again. Too much and you'll burn the beans. Too little and it tastes like dishwater. Her hands cover mine on the portafilter, guiding the motion. Feel that resistance. That's perfect. When I turn to ask about steaming milk, I realize how close we're standing. Close enough to count the gold flecks in her blue eyes. Close enough to smell her shampoo, something citrusy and clean. Her gaze drops to my lips for just a second before she steps back, clearing her throat. You're getting good at this, she says, busying herself with inventory sheets. Good teacher. The compliment hangs between us. Louis was something neither of us names. Thursday arrives faster than I expected. Open mic night. Alicia's been gently pushing me toward it all week, and I finally caved. Now, watching her set up the tiny stage area, I'm regretting everything. What if I freeze up there? You won't, she says, adjusting the microphone. But if you do, I'll rescue you. How? I'll start a fire or something. Everyone loves a good evacuation. Despite my nerves, I laugh. You'd burn down your own shop to save me from embarrassment. Maybe, she grins. Depends how bad the poetry is. Artists start arriving around 7. Musicians with guitar cases. A woman with a saxophone. A kid who looks barely 18 clutching a notebook. They're all so young, so confident. I feel ancient at 3. Alicia introduces me to a few regulars, then disappears to work the counter. I nurse a coffee in the corner, watching performers take the stage. A folk singer with a voice like honey, a comedian who gets genuine laughs, a poet who talks about gentrification. With passionate anger. Then Alicia's calling my name. The stage feels like a cliff edge. Under the warm lights, I can barely make out faces in the small crowd. My hands shake as I unfold my poem. This is called Rebuilding. I begin. My voice steadier than expected. I learned that destruction can look like construction when you're standing too close. Warren built walls while I called them bridges. Now I'm learning new words: coffee shop, kindness, morning light. The architecture of starting over with hands that remember how to hold things gently. I don't look up until I finish. When I do, the room is quiet for a heartbeat. Then warm applause fills the space. Alicia's expression from behind the counter makes my chest tight. Pride, affection. Something deeper I'm not ready to name. Afterward, as the crowd thins, she helps me stack chairs. That was beautiful, she says. Robin, hopeful like you. You've been through hell. But you're not bitter. That's rare. We work in comfortable silence until she mentions tomorrow's charity bike ride. For Ohio River cleanup, you should come, she says. Weather is supposed to be perfect. And the cause matters. I don't have a bike. I've got a spare. We could ride together. Something in her tone suggests this matters more than just environmental activism. I study her face. The way she's not quite meeting my eyes. The slight flush in her cheeks. You mean like a date? I ask quietly. She pauses, a folded chair halfway to the stack. Would that scare you? Everything scares me lately. I set down my chair. But yes, I think I'd like that. Her smile transforms her whole face. Good. Because I've been wanting to ask for days. What stopped you? You're still healing from Warren. I didn't want to push. The consideration in her voice undoes me a little. Warren never worried about pushing. He just steamrolled over my feelings when they inconvenienced him. Maybe healing looks different. Then I thought, maybe it's not about building walls. Maybe it's about learning to trust someone who wouldn't hurt you on purpose. We finish cleaning in a charged silence, upstairs in her apartment. She makes tea while I sit at her kitchen table, watching her move through the space. Everything here reflects her: warm colors, plants everywhere, canvases leaning against walls, showing half-finished paintings of Cincinnati landscapes. Can I ask you something? I say when she joins me with steaming mugs, always. Have you dated women before? Or am I your first venture into curiosity? She laughs. Not mockingly, but with recognition. I figured out I preferred women around sophomore year of college. Had a girlfriend for 3 years after graduation, Sarah. Things just faded out when she moved to Portland. And you're okay with my complicated situation? The divorce, the mess, all of it? Alicia reaches across the table, brushes her fingers against mine. Morgan, everyone's got complications. Yours just happened to be recent. That night, I lie awake thinking about her touch, about tomorrow's bike ride that feels like stepping toward something I'm not sure I understand yet. For the first time since Warren, I fall asleep excited about what morning might bring. Saturday morning arrives crisp and golden. Perfect October weather for a bike ride. Alicia's spare bicycle turns out to be a cheerful red contraption with a wicker basket that makes me feel like I'm in a European film. Her own bike is sleek black, professional looking, which somehow suits her perfectly. 20 miles through Eden Park and along the Ohio River, she explains, adjusting my helmet. Her fingers brush against my jaw as she tightens a strap. You sure you're ready for this? How hard can it be? By mile 5, I remember why I stopped exercising after college. My thighs burn, my lungs ache, and Alicia hasn't even broken a sweat. She pulls alongside me, concern creasing her features. Want to take a break? I'm fine, I gasp. Pride warring with oxygen deprivation. She laughs, stubborn. I like that. The charity ride attracts about 50 people, all ages, united by concern for Cincinnati's polluted waterways. During our first official rest stop near the river, Alicia and I sit on a picnic table sharing energy bars that taste like cardboard. I used to paint this river, she says, staring at the muddy water, even polluted. It's beautiful in the right light. What made you stop? Life happened. Dad got sick. Left me the coffee shop. Art became a luxury I couldn't afford. There's sadness in her voice that makes me want to reach for her hand. Instead, I ask, do you miss it? Every day. But the shop matters too. Community matters. Like taking in stray poets. She turns to look at me, something shifting in her expression. You're not a stray, Morgan. You're exactly where you're supposed to be. The intensity in her voice catches me off guard. Before I can respond, she's standing, ready to continue writing. Mile 15 finds us cycling through Eden Park as autumn light filters through orange and gold leaves. Other riders spread out along the path. But Alicia and I have found our rhythm together. She points out landmarks: the art museum, the conservatory, hidden trails she explores on solo rides. This is my favorite spot, she says as we crest a hill, overlooking the city skyline. Cincinnati spreads below us like a painting. All brick and bridges and the winding Ohio River for the first time in months. I feel something besides grief and anxiety. Something that might be joy. It's beautiful. I say. I freeze mid-wipe. So, are you? The words slip out so quietly I almost miss them. When I look at her, she's studying my face with an expression I recognize, but haven't seen in years. Uncomplicated. Honest desire, Alicia. I know this is complicated, she says quickly. I know you're still figuring things out after Warren. But I can't pretend I don't feel this. My heart hammers against my ribs, not from the bike ride anymore. What do you feel? Like I've been waiting for you without knowing it. She reaches over, brushes a strand of hair from my face, like maybe this is what healing looks like. The touch sends electricity straight through me. When did someone's gentleness last affect me this way? I don't know how to do this, I whisper. Do what? Trust someone. Let someone care about me. Warren spent years convincing me I was too much trouble. Anger flashes in her eyes. Warren was an idiot. Before I can think, before I can talk myself out of it, I lean forward and kiss her. Soft, tentative, terrified. She tastes like energy bars and possibility. When we break apart, she's smiling. Was that okay? I ask. More than okay. She kisses me again, deeper this time. Her hand cupping my cheek. Worth the 20-mile bike ride. We finish the route in a daze of new awareness. Every accidental touch as we walk our bikes to the parking area feels charged. Every glance carries weight. Other riders congratulate us on completing the course, but I barely hear them. My whole universe has narrowed to the woman beside me, and the way she keeps stealing glances like she can't believe I kissed her. Back at her apartment, exhausted and exhilarated, we collapse on her couch with takeout Chinese food and cold beer. So, she says, curling into the corner to face me. What happens now? I have no idea. I take a long pull of beer. For 8 years, Warren made every decision. What we ate, where we lived, how we spent weekends. I forgot how to have preferences. What do you prefer right now, in this moment? I study her face, the soft blonde hair escaping her ponytail. The paint stain on her thumb she probably doesn't know is there. The way she's looking at me like I'm something precious. Instead of damaged, this, I say simply, I prefer this. She sets down her beer and scoots closer. Good, because I prefer this, too. When she kisses me this time, it's different, slower, deeper, full of intention. I can taste the future in it. Mornings brewing coffee together, bike rides through changing seasons. Learning to trust someone who sees my scars as proof of survival, rather than weakness. Outside, Cincinnati sparkles in the gathering dusk. Inside, something new begins. 3 weeks after our first kiss, life settles into a rhythm I never thought possible. Mornings begin with coffee prep together, our movements synchronized like dancers who've rehearsed for years. Evenings end curled on Alicia's couch, sharing books and takeout while Cincinnati twinkles beyond her windows. But lately, something else shares her quiet moments, whispers. It starts the night after another successful open mic performance. I'm lying in the guest bed. We haven't crossed that line yet. Both of us taking things slow. When I hear them, faint murmurs like voices carrying through water. At first, I strain to make out words, thinking maybe it's neighbors through thin walls. But Alicia's building is solid brick, and her nearest neighbor is a 90-year-old widow who goes to bed at 8. The whispers come again the next night and the next, always after midnight, always just beyond understanding. A sibilant susurration that makes my skin crawl. I tell myself it's stress, maybe lingering anxiety from the divorce. Warren's psychological games left marks deeper than I want to admit. 2 weeks later, the whispers follow me downstairs to the coffee shop. I'm restocking pastries in the display case when I hear them, urgent, insistent murmurs that seem to come from the walls themselves. My hands shake as I set down a tray of muffins. You okay? Alicia asks from behind the espresso machine. Fine. I lie, forcing steadiness into my voice, just tired. But I'm not fine. The whispers intensify whenever Alicia and I grow closer, like some jealous presence disapproving of our connection. During stolen moments in the shop's back room, quick kisses, gentle touches that leave me breathless. The murmurs grow louder, more agitated. Last night, when Alicia almost invited me to her bed, the whispers became a roar. I pulled away, making excuses about moving too fast. But truth is, I was terrified. Terrified of what might happen if we crossed that threshold while those voices haunted the shadows. Morgan, seriously. What's wrong? Alicia appears beside me now, genuine worry creasing her features. You've been jumpy all week. I want to tell her damn how I want to share this burden. But what if she thinks I'm losing my mind? What if Warren was right about me being unstable? Just adjusting, I say weakly. Big changes, you know. She studies my face with those perceptive blue eyes. Is this about us? Are we moving too fast? No. The answer comes quickly, honestly. This is the best thing that's happened to me in years. Then what? A customer enters, saving me from explanation. But Alicia's concerned glances follow me all day. Evening brings no relief. During dinner prep in her apartment kitchen, we move around each other with practiced ease. She makes pasta while I prepare salad, our hips bumping occasionally in the small space. Normal moments that should feel peaceful but somehow feel watched. Remember when you asked what I preferred? I say suddenly. She glances up from stirring sauce. The night of the bike ride, I said I preferred this us, our life together, past tense. Her voice carries careful neutrality, present tense always. Present tense, I set down the knife, turned to face her fully. But something's been bothering me. The whispers choose up moment to start again, soft, sibilant, seemingly emanating from the walls around us. My breath catches. What kind of bothering? Alicia asks, oblivious to the sounds that make my pulse race. Do you hear that? She tilts her head, listening. Hear what? The whispers fade as suddenly as they began, leaving only the bubble of pasta water in my hammering heart. Nothing, I whisper, never mind. But Alicia sets down her wooden spoon and crosses to me, gently taking my hands. Morgan, you're scaring me. What's going on? The concern in her voice nearly breaks me. Here's this incredible woman who's given me shelter, purpose, love, and I'm repaying her kindness by acting like a lunatic. I've been hearing things, I admit quietly, voices, whispers. They started a few weeks ago, and they're getting stronger. Instead of backing away, she squeezes my hands tighter. What kind of voices? I can't make out words, just murmuring like people talking in another room. But there's nobody there. I meet her eyes, expecting judgment or fear. Instead, I find only compassion. When do they happen? Usually at night. Sometimes during the day. Now they get louder when we're close. When things feel good between us, like something doesn't want me to be happy. Alicia pulls me into her arms, holding me against her chest while her heart beats steady and straw beneath my cheek. Hey, she murmurs into my hair, we'll figure this out. Maybe it's stress, maybe it's the old building's acoustics, maybe it's something else entirely. But whatever it is, you're not dealing with it alone. The whispers start again, soft but insistent, like warnings carried on wind. This time, I don't pull away from Alicia's embrace. Instead, I hold tighter, letting her warmth anchor me against whatever haunts the edges of our happiness. Alicia's response to my confession surprises me. Instead of suggesting therapy or questioning my sanity, she spends the evening researching. While I prepare for another restless night, she's on her laptop at the kitchen table reading about everything from building acoustics to post-divorce trauma. Listen to this, she says, looking up from her screen. Old buildings in Cincinnati often have strange sound properties, steam pipes, settling foundations. Even wind patterns can create acoustic anomalies that sound like voices. Her practical approach is both comforting and frustrating. I want logical explanations, but part of me knows this feels different than building noises. Maybe, I say. Though doubt lingers in my voice, she closes the laptop and joins me on the couch, and maybe Warren's psychological games did more damage than either of us realized. Making you question your own perceptions was his specialty, right? The observation hits close to home. Warren had perfected the art of making me doubt my own experience, telling me I remembered conversations wrong, that I was being overly sensitive, that my feelings were invalid. He used to say I heard things that weren't there when I catch him on late-night phone calls. I admit, I say. He made me think I was paranoid. Alicia's jaw tightens. Classic manipulation. Make the victim question reality so you can control the narrative. We go to bed in her room that night for the first time, not for passion, but for comfort. She insists the whispers might be worse when I'm alone. We lie facing each other in the dark, her hand resting on my cheek. Whatever this is, she whispers, we'll handle it together. But the whispers don't stay away. They start around 2 a.m., seeming to emanate from the walls themselves. This time, Alicia sits up too. I heard something, she says quietly. Relief floods through me. You did? Sounded like voices from downstairs. Maybe someone's breaking into the shop. We creep downstairs to investigate, finding nothing but empty spaces and the normal sounds of an old building at night. But as we stand in the shop's main room, the whispers return, clearer now, more insistent. Alicia, I breathe, grabbing her arm. She tilts her head, listening intently. After a moment, her expression changes. I think I know what that is. Come on, she leads me to the back wall, pressing her ear against it. Double quotes, Mrs. Peterson next door has her television on. These old buildings share walls that are thinner than they look. Sound travels weird through them. The explanation makes sense, but something about the timing still feels off. Why do the whispers intensify when Alicia and I are closest? Back upstairs, we lie awake, talking quietly about everything and nothing. Gradually, conversation fades into gentle touches. Her fingers tracing patterns on my shoulder, my hand resting against the curve of her waist. "Morgan," she whispers in the darkness, "is this okay?" Instead of answering with words, I lean forward and kiss her, softly at first, then deeper as she responds. Her hands find my face, my hair, mapping me like territory she wants to memorize. When she rolls toward me, when her body aligns with mine, the world narrows to just us. Her kiss tastes like toothpaste and promises. Her touch erases months of Warren's coldness, replacing criticism with worship. We move together slowly, carefully, like we're learning a new language. Every touch is a question answered with enthusiasm. When she whispers my name against my throat, when I arch beneath her gentle hands, the whispers fade to nothing. There's only us. Only this moment of connection that feels both inevitable and miraculous afterward. We lie tangled together, breathing hard and grinning like teenagers who just discovered something wonderful. "Damn," Alicia murmurs against my shoulder. "That was worth waiting for, more than worth it." But as contentment settles over us, the whispers return with a vengeance, louder now, more urgent. Like multiple voices overlapping in agitation, I tense. Against Alicia's side, their back, I whisper, this time she hears them too. The sound seems to come from everywhere and nowhere, surrounding us with unintelligible murmurs that raise goosebumps on my arms. "Okay," she says, sitting up and reaching for her robe. "That's not Mrs. Peterson's television." Fear creeps up my spine. What if Warren was right? What if I am losing my mind? She turns to face me, her expression fierce in the moonlight streaming through the windows. "Warren spent 8 years trying to convince you that your reality wasn't real. Don't let him win now." "But what if Morgan?" She takes my hands firmly. "I heard them too. Whatever this is, it's not in your head. We'll figure it out together." The whispers continue as we hold each other in the dark. But somehow Alicia's certainty makes them bearable for the first time in weeks. I fall asleep feeling protected rather than haunted. The next morning brings clarity with coffee and research. Alicia spreads papers across the shop's front counter. City records, building permits, even old newspaper clippings about being there's previous occupants. "Look at this," she says, pointing to a 1987 complaint filed with the city. Previous tenant complained about persistent auditory disturbances of unknown origin. And here, 1993, another business owner reported strange acoustic phenomena. I scan the documents over her shoulder, our bodies close but comfortable now. Last night changed something fundamental between us despite the mysterious voices, so it's not just me, I say with relief. Definitely not just you. This building has a history of weird sounds. But look at this. She pulls out an article from 1995. Acoustic engineer investigated, found that the building's ventilation system creates a resonance chamber effect. Air moving through old ductwork can produce sounds that mimic human voices. The scientific explanation should comfort me, but unease lingers. Why do they get stronger when we're together? Alicia considers this, twirling a pen between her fingers. Emotional stress affects perception when we're intimate, when you're vulnerable. You're more attuned to sounds that are always there. It makes sense. Warren trained me to be hypervigilant, always listening for signs of his mood shifts. Maybe I'm projecting that anxiety onto building noises. There's something else, she continues, hesitating. I called my ex-girlfriend Sarah. Last night after you fell asleep, unexpected jealousy flashes through me. Why? She went through something similar after her divorce. Heard voices. Thought she was losing her sanity. Turned out to be a combination of trauma response in her apartments. Old radiators. The comparison stings. So I'm just another messed up divorcee you're rescuing? Alicia's expression softens. Morgan, no, you're not a project. You're the woman I'm falling in love with. The words hit me like lightning. Love? Neither of us has said it yet. Falling? I ask quietly. Fallen? She corrects, color rising in her cheeks. Completely. Terrifyingly fallen. Before I can respond, she continues quickly. Sarah said the voices stopped when she started processing her trauma properly. When she stopped fighting the healing and just let it happen. And how exactly does one let healing happen? By trusting that you deserve good things, by believing that what we have is real and worth protecting. A customer enters, interrupting the moment. But Alicia's words echo through the morning rush. Love? She loves me. The realization makes my chest tight with possibility and terror. That afternoon, we visit Eden Park, where we first kissed. Autumn has deepened, painting the trees in fierce reds and golds. We walk the trail slowly, hands intertwined, talking about everything except the whispers. Tell me about your poetry, Alicia says as we sit on a bench overlooking the city. What you want to accomplish? What success looks like for you? The question catches me off guard. Warren used to ask similar things, but his tone implied my dreams were unrealistic. Alicia's voice carries genuine curiosity. I want to write about survival, I say slowly. About women finding strength they didn't know they had. About rebuilding after destruction, like what you're doing now, maybe? I study her profile as she looks out over Cincinnati. What about your painting? What would success look like for you? She's quiet for a long moment. Maybe success isn't about art galleries or recognition. Maybe it's about creating beauty in small ways like this coffee shop, like our life together. You don't miss the big dreams, I'm living a big dream, she says, turning to meet my eyes, just a different one than I planned. When she kisses me on that bench, surrounded by dying leaves and October light, the whispers don't come. For the first time in weeks, there's only silence and the distant sounds of the city below. That evening, we research more about acoustic phenomena in old buildings. Alicia prints articles about everything from infrasound to psychological effects of chronic low-frequency noise, armed with knowledge. The whispers lose some of their power to frighten me. Knowledge is control, she says, organizing the papers into neat stacks. Warren kept you in the dark about everything: finances, decisions, even your own emotions. Understanding what's happening takes away the fear. She's right, the more we learn, the less mysterious the voices become. They're still unsettling, but now they feel manageable rather than threatening. Late that night, lying in Alicia's arms after making love again, I finally feel peaceful. Her breathing evens into sleep, but I stay awake listening. The whispers come, as expected, but now I hear them differently, not as malevolent voices, but as air moving through old pipes, creating phantom conversations in the walls. Just building noises, I whisper to myself for the first time in weeks. I believe it. The whispers continue, but they no longer control me. Whatever Warren broke in me, whatever hypervigilance he installed, begins to heal in the safety of Alicia's love. I'm learning to trust my own perceptions again, to distinguish between real threats and imagined ones. Tomorrow, I'll write a new poem about the difference between haunting and healing. Tonight, I sleep soundly in the arms of the woman who taught me that love doesn't have to hurt. 6 months have transformed everything. The whispers that once terrorized me now register as background noise. Old buildings settling, air through vents, the city's ambient sound filtering through walls. Understanding their source stripped away their power to frighten. My poetry has found its voice again. Thursday open mix at Bean. There draw regular crowds now, people who come specifically to hear local writers. Last month a publisher from Indianapolis attended and asked to see my work. I'm compiling a manuscript called After the Storm, poems about divorce, recovery, and unexpected love. You're glowing, Alicia says, watching me arrange my latest pieces at our kitchen table. Success suits you. Success, I test the word. It still feels foreign. Get used to it. That publisher sounds serious. We've settled into domestic rhythms I never thought possible. Alicia paints in the mornings before we open the shop, her easel set up by the big window overlooking the street. I write in the afternoons during slow periods, filling notebooks with verses about healing and hope. The whispers barely register anymore, just white noise in our comfortable chaos. Tonight feels different, though. Electric with possibility. Alicia's been mysterious all week, humming while she works, stealing glances when she thinks I'm not looking. After closing the shop, we climb to her apartment where candles flicker on every surface. She's prepared dinner, my favorite pasta with wine. That probably costs more than our usual budget allows. What's the occasion? I ask, settling across from her at the small table. Can't a woman cook for her girlfriend without ulterior motives? This woman can. This woman usually does. Question is, why the fancy treatment tonight? She refills my wine glass, her movements careful and deliberate. I've been thinking about us, about what we're building here. My heart speeds up. Good thinking? Or concerning thinking? Terrifying thinking, she admits with a smile. The kind that changes everything. After dinner, we move to the couch where city lights twinkle beyond the windows. Alicia curls against my side, her head on my shoulder, fingers tracing lazy patterns on my arm. Remember when you said you preferred this? She asks quietly. Our first real conversation about feelings. What do you prefer now? I consider the question seriously. 6 months ago, I preferred safety, predictability, the absence of conflict. Now I want something bigger. I prefer adventure, I say finally. I prefer building something meaningful with someone who sees my scars as proof of strength. She sits up to meet my eyes. I prefer forever. The word hangs between us like a bridge we're both afraid to cross. Forever is a long time. I whisper, is it long enough? Instead of answering with words, I kiss her deep, certain, full of promises. I'm finally ready to make. When we break apart, she's smiling with tears in her eyes. I love you, Morgan Bennett, she says, completely, unconditionally, the way Warren never did. I love you too, Alicia, more. So much it scares me. We make love on her couch as October wind rattles the windows, gentle at first, then passionate, then desperate with need. Her touch erases the last of Warren's damage, replacing criticism with worship, control with collaboration. When she whispers my name like a prayer, when I arch beneath her loving hands, I understand what healing looks like. It looks like trust. It looks like choosing vulnerability with someone worthy of the gift afterward. Wrapped in her grandmother's quilt, we talk about practical things, moving in together officially, combining finances, her teaching me to paint, me helping her expand the shop's community programming. There's something else, she says, nervous again. Something I've been wanting to propose. She laughs. Business proposal though. Now that you mention it, heat rises in my cheeks. What kind of business proposal? Partnership, real partnership, been there. Coffee and poetry. Your name on the lease. Profit sharing, the works. What do you say? The offer overwhelms me. 6 months ago I owned nothing but a backpack and broken dreams. Now she's offering to share everything she's built. I can't afford. Your poetry draws customers, your story inspires people. You've earned this. The whispers start then, soft but insistent, for a moment. Old anxiety flickers. What if I'm not worthy? What if I ruin everything she's worked for? But then Alicia squeezes my hand, grounding me in the present. Just building noises, I murmur. And the fear passes. What was that? Nothing important, I smile. Leaning forward to kiss her again. Yes to the partnership. Yes to everything, the business, the life, the terrifying forever we're building together. A car backfires on the street below, making us both jump. Then we're laughing, giddy with relief and possibility. The whispers fade to nothing as Alicia's laughter fills the room. I have something for you, she says, retrieving a small wrapped package from her bedroom. Inside is a key to the coffee shop, brass and warm in my palm. Your place, too, now, she says. Our place, that night. The whispers don't come at all. For the first time since moving in, the building is perfectly quiet except for our breathing, our heartbeats, the sound of two people falling asleep in love and unafraid. 8 months later, Being There Coffee and Poetry has become Cincinnati's unofficial creative hub. My book, After the Storm, launched last week with a reading that packed the shop beyond capacity. People stood outside the windows, listening through the glass as I read about survival, love, and the women who save each other. Alicia painted a mural on the back wall, abstract shapes in blues and golds that somehow capture the feeling of morning light on water. Customers comment on it daily. She started taking commissions again, balancing coffee shop demands with her artistic resurgence. The whispers are nothing now. Background noise I barely notice, like traffic or distant music. Sometimes new customers ask about the building's atmospheric sounds. We laugh and explain about old ventilation systems and acoustic quirks. Knowledge truly did strip away their power to frighten. But today brings a different kind of disruption. I'm working the afternoon shift alone when the door chimes and Warren walks in. He looks older, gray around the temples, wearing the same expensive suit style that once impressed me. His presence fills the small space like smoke, stealing oxygen and clarity. Hello, Morgan. My hands shake as I set down the coffee pot. What are you doing here? Heard about your little book deal. Congratulations. There's poison in his tone, the familiar edge that used to make me apologize for existing. Thank you, I manage, proud of how steady my voice sounds. He approaches the counter slowly, predatory. Funny how you found your voice after leaving me. Almost like you needed to create drama to feel important. The manipulation is textbook Warren, insulting, while pretending to compliment, making my success about him. My voice was always there. I say quietly. You just spent 8 years trying to silence it. His expression hardens. Don't rewrite history, Morgan. You were a mess when we met. I gave you stability, a home, purpose. This poetry nonsense is just delayed adolescence. Before I can respond, Alicia enters from the back room. She takes in the scene instantly, my pale face, Warren's aggressive posture, the toxic tension poisoning our safe space. Everything okay here? She asks, moving to stand beside me behind the counter. Warren's gaze shifts to her, calculating and dismissive. You must be the roommate, partner, Alicia corrects firmly. Business and otherwise. His laugh is ugly. Of course, Morgan always did have abandonment issues. Guess she found someone desperate enough to enable them. The words hit their target. For a split second, doubt flickers. Am I just repeating patterns, trading one dependence for another? Then Alicia's hand finds mine, warm and steady, and clarity returns. Warren, I say, my voice stronger now. I want you to leave. Still running from difficult conversations, he sneers. Some things never change. You're right, I agree. Some things don't change, like your need to control and diminish everyone around you. But I changed. I learned the difference between love and manipulation. Alicia squeezes my hand. Silent support that gives me courage. This little fantasy won't last, Warren continues, desperate now. When reality hits, when the novelty wears off, You'll remember why you needed me. I'll be waiting, don't, Alicia says quietly, but her tone carries warning. Don't wait. She's never coming back. Warren looks between us, perhaps finally recognizing that his power over me is truly broken. Your loss, he says, heading for the door. Both of yours. After he leaves, I collapse onto a stool, adrenaline making me shake. You okay? Alicia asks, wrapping her arms around me. Better than okay, I realize with surprise. 6 months ago, that conversation would have destroyed me. Today, it felt like closure. You were incredible, strong, clear, completely in your power. We close early and walk to Eden Park, where autumn light filters through bare trees. The spot where we first kissed has become our place for important conversations. I've been thinking, Alicia says as we sit on our usual bench, about what Warren said. About us being partners and everything. My stomach flutters. What about it? I want to make it official, legal, permanent. She pulls a small velvet box from her jacket pocket and my world tilts sideways. Morgan Bennett, she continues, opening the box to reveal a simple silver band with a small diamond. Will you marry me? The question hangs in the crisp air between us. Below, Cincinnati spreads in all directions, a city where I lost everything and found myself again. Yes. I breathe, then louder. Yes, absolutely. She slides the ring onto my finger with trembling hands. Perfect fit, like everything else about us. I love you. She whispers against my lips as we kiss. My brave, brilliant poet, I love you too. My rescuer who taught me to rescue myself. 6 months later, we're married. In the coffee shop, surrounded by our chosen family of artists, activists, and caffeine addicts, I read a poem I wrote for the occasion called Home. Alicia's vows include a promise to always believe my reality, even when I doubted myself. The whispers play like background music during the ceremony, just old building sounds that remind me how far I've traveled from fear to love. As we dance to music from Alicia's ancient stereo, sunlight streaming through windows that overlook our shared kingdom, I understand that some endings are actually beginnings wearing disguises. My story isn't about being saved. It's about saving myself, with help from someone brave enough to love me back to wholeness. Outside, Cincinnati hums with possibility. Inside, we're writing our own happy ending, one careful kiss, one shared dream, one whispered promise at a time.